Great. Okay, so we started the recording. Thank you. All right, so standing on your mat, please. Let's inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway again. And with your next exhale, bend both of your knees. Notice where the weight is in your feet. Can you drop the weight back into the heels? Inhale, reach the arms forward. Inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, arms wide. And back in front of the heart. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, chair, Utkatasana. Weight back in the heels. Inhale deeply, exhale, bow forward. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back. So you're going to be in a lunge. Right foot back. Is the weight balanced in your hip joints? Can you find the left heel on the ground? Can you feel the full shape of the left heel? And you press into the left heel, and what happens? Can you feel a diagonal line that comes from the left hip across all the way to the right side of the pelvis, the right inner thigh, and back into the right heel? We're going to inhale, step forward. Exhale, take your left foot back. Again, notice if the weight is balanced in the hips. Where is your right inner hip? Sometimes when you press into the front heel, it does help you find that place in the right inner hip. As in, oh, my pelvis, it moves around my right hip joint. I can look down and make sure that my right knee is not in front of my right ankle, but it's slightly behind my right ankle, just a tad. And then can you find the diagonal that comes from the pelvis, from the right, back towards the left, left inner thigh, all the way back. And then we'll inhale, step forward. Exhale, bow forward. And inhale, come all the way up. Then exhale your hands back in front of your heart. And release your arms. So I want to take downward facing dog, but I want you to find support for the head in this downward dog. So in other words, you could come down to the ground. What kind of support do you need? How much height do you need for downward dog? You know, you might take a couple blocks and see what that is like. So that you're still going to be strong through the arms. That might be, you know, and it'll change. Or you might go, oh, I need just a tiny bit more height. Maybe a blanket on top of that. What would that be like? So I need to turn that a long way. There we go, better. I don't want the support to be affecting what's happening through my neck. I still want my neck to be able to be long. I still want to be able to strongly reach. from the outer shoulder blades to the upper arms to the hands. And I notice that as I'm here, it might change. What support I need might be different. And can you come back into your Ujjayi breathing? Can you drop back into a balanced inhale and exhale? And yes, the height that is under the head may change. There may be a different need. Great. Because I'm still strong through my arms and my spine is long. This looks really good. From what I can tell, it looks really great. All right, great. And then let's walk the feet toward the hands. You can move that prop, whatever you had your head on, you can move it out of the way. Shift the hands onto the hips. And let's come up to standing. Hands back in front of your heart. And notice the ground. Again, notice how your feet contact the earth. It's so easy for us to lose the connection to the ground. There's just so much going on in regard, there's just so much news and so much loss that sometimes we get just completely wrapped up and we miss the support of the earth beneath us. All right, so let's release that and let's take a wide stance. We're going to take a side angle pose. So let's go to your right first. So you're going to drop your left heel back and turn your right foot out. And let's have a block or two at that right outer shin or ankle. All right, when you're ready, inhale, take the arms out. Exhale, side ankle. So pelvis starts to point to the back. Foot. And I become more curious. I'm not looking for what is the deepest side angle I can take right now. I'm more curious about how do I connect into my back foot? How do I keep that connection? And is there room for the front of the left lung to turn open towards the sky? And what about, the upper left lung, the upper lobe of the left lung? Then we're going to inhale, come up. And switch to your second side. So you drop the right heel back, left foot forward. Block or blocks. Inhale the arms out. Exhale to side angle. So first, where's the ground? How do you reach from the crest of the pelvis on the right side to the right outer heel? And then can you turn the right lung a little away from midline? And what about the upper lobe of that lung? And then we're going to inhale, come up. Make the feet parallel. So I'd like us, we're going to take a wide-legged forward fold. And I want us to have some support for the head again. So you could use your blocks, or if you need your blocks to be able to go to your hands, you might use, some pillows, or, blankets, or bolster, or, there's all sorts of things. If you need the blocks to be under your hands, then you might have the seat of the chair. Or maybe you have a bolster available, and you could always make that bolster be tall enough that your head could rest there. Whichever you're going to choose, as you bow forward, you're going to walk the hands back to that space, if the legs will let you, between your feet or in that direction. And then releasing the head and neck, and then putting the support under the head. And again, making sure that the support is not restricting the ability to release the neck. Sometimes that's why I do like having pillows or blankets, because they have a little softness that I can reach my head into. The weight is balanced between the heel of the foot and the ball of the foot. That's right, and that support might change. Your height might change under your head as you're there. Right, so there's really nice alignment, Ingrid, between the hip and the feet. Yeah. There might be a little micro bend in the knee. You might see if that, yep, exactly. All right, and then we're gonna walk the hands back out. You're welcome to move that support that was under the head out of the way. We'll shift the hands up to the hips. And inhale, come back up. Let's step the feet together. I'm just taking mountain pose for a moment. Go ahead and shine the palms forward. Find the ground. And lengthen all the way up through the crown of your skull. Here in Oregon, we haven't even seen Mount Hood for days, right? But we know that she's still standing there. All right, let's let that go. We're going to step the feet out again for a triangle pose. So we'll go to your right first. So we'll spin your feet toward the right, 1 or 2 blocks at that right outer shin or ankle. Both legs are going to stay straight. Give yourself enough height. When you're ready, inhale, take the arms out. And as you exhale, let's bring the back hand onto your hip. Notice where's the weight in the front foot. How does your weight fall into the front foot? If the weight is more on the outer heel, can you draw what happens when you take the outer right hip and bring it in to midline, in towards midline? Does the weight change in the front foot? And if you like, reach your left arm up. Turn the left lung up towards the sky, the front of it, the face of it. Including the upper lobe. There's 3 lobes on the right and 2 on the left. So you're turning your upper left lung. And we'll inhale, come up. And let's take your other side. Switch your block. Inhale the arms out. And then exhale. Hand to the hip. Hand to the block. Draw the left outer hip towards midline so that the weight is more balanced in the front foot. And then when you're ready, turning towards the sky and bringing the felt sense into the right lung, that skyward side. Turn the face of it, the upper lobe of it. The head can be looking wherever's comfortable for your neck. And we'll add the arm. And then let's inhale, come up. Exhale, step the feet together. Mountain pose. Inhale, lift your arms. And exhale your hands back in front of your heart. All right, so I want to set up for a reclined, a supine headstand. Unless you are someone who consistently practices a headstand in your practice at home, if you do, you could take that headstand. Otherwise, I'm going to show you the supine version of headstand. So you're going to want 2 blocks, a bolster, or a couple blankets. Let's see. A small dog. Dave, I'm gonna have to move you a little, I think. Here, I'll move my chair. Go this way. Move my chair out of the way. So I could, if I have a bolster, I could take a bolster here. That's gonna be for my ankles. If I don't have a bolster, then I'm gonna take one of my blankets and roll it. I'll probably take the blanket on the short end and roll that up. So that's gonna support my ankles. And I'm gonna take another blanket, and I want it to be about the height as the thickness of one of my blocks. So I'm gonna take this blanket. I'm gonna go lengthwise again. And I want this roll, or actually I'm gonna fold it. I'm gonna go into this direction, but I'm gonna fold it into thirds. I wanna see what that's like. Of course, your blanket. Yeah, that looks about the same height as my block when I folded it into thirds. All right. And then I'm gonna have this block is gonna go under my thoracic spine. So I'm gonna put it like that. still gonna have to move the dog. I think, hello. Scoot over. Good boy, there you go. You want a blanket? There you go. Okay, so that's that. And then I have my second block. And I want either one more, a blanket or a pillow that is gonna go under the back of my head. All right, so this is gonna be my ankles. In a moment, this will be my pelvis. If you have more than 2 blocks, you could use a block instead of this blanket. Block, blanket, let me show you. Okay, let's see how this goes. So what I'll do is I'm gonna come down to the ground and I'm gonna put the block that's gonna go under my thoracic spine this direction. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my upper back on that. Then I'm gonna take either a block or the blanket that I folded into thirds under my pelvis. I like a block is really nice if you have another block. And then I'm gonna put my ankles up on a bolster or blanket. And then my head, I'm gonna scoot this blanket back, check that height. No, it needs to be slightly higher, probably a pillow, or I'll fold this into thirds, like that. Then I'm gonna take this other block and I'm gonna put it between my hands to meet my head. So I take my hands flat against this block. I'm not curling my fingers around it. I'm gonna use the strength of my arms to press into this block. And I want it to come and meet my head, but I'm also gonna lengthen through my head towards the block. So my hands are squeezing the block, my elbows are toward each other. So I have strength that I'm using right now with my arms and my palms pressing into this block, the block touching my head, and my head lengthening up to meet the block. Can you try this? I will come over, and if I can see anything, I'll give you some ideas. Yeah, looks great, Michael. Excellent. I'm going to also reach out through the balls of my feet. Not necessarily the heel, but the ball. I'll extend through the ball of the foot. And you might at least take the block on the narrow setting. No, put your hands on the widest part of the block. Yeah, like that. Like that. Yep. And try. And now take the block vertical. Make it vertical in your hands. But I think when you take your arms overhead, your fingers aren't, you try it. Let's see. Bend your elbows, go overhead. I think you're gonna have to, no, bend your elbows. You know what I mean? Like you want the block to meet the, yeah. Better, but the small end of the block is gonna sit on the ground. Yeah, now pull that in towards you if it doesn't bother your elbows. There you have it. I think the blanket under the pelvis, probably you almost feel like you're in a back bend, maybe, Lise, instead of like all in one line, just so you know. Yeah, that would need to be a little taller. I know, these details. So we're just gonna be a couple more breaths. Can you really energize the legs, even though they are supported? I wonder if your legs, Anne, are maybe a little lower than your pelvis. Looks like they might be, just for future reference. Yeah, they would be up on something higher. Yep. Good. All the little details. But the pressure of the block to the head to the block. Alrighty, and then let's go ahead. What you'll do is you'll take the support that's under the pelvis, remove that, bring the pelvis to the ground, take your hands behind your head, bend both knees, and then you can straighten one leg. You could either and come up to sitting. You might use your abdominals to sit up. All right. And then we're going to turn around and take downward facing dog. And if you want, it's good to keep a little support under the head just because it's grounding. We need that right now. Downward facing dog, maybe with the head support. In your downward dog, let the collarbones are in this V shape towards the heart. And this all turns in a little bit. So the top of the breastbone turns in a little. Even the top of the lungs turn in a little. Turn down slightly. When you turn those upper lobes of the lungs down, you might notice something happened with your spine. Something happened with the spine. Okay, beautiful. And then let's bring the knees to the ground. And walk the hands back, come up to sitting. Let's take one of your blankets and you might fold it back into thirds. That might be a good height to sit upon. Some of you, we're going to take a revolved Janushirshasana. So some of you might need a little more height. I'm going to take this blanket, I'm going to turn it a little bit sideways. If I know, like Al, you're going to want to sit on two. You're going to want a little more height probably. And then I'm going to sit up on that corner of that. Let's take your right leg or your left leg long if you're going to be with your blanket this way. Left leg long. And the right knee turned, if your pelvis lets you, turn it a little more out to the side. So left leg out, right knee turned a little out. Okay. And then, and Michaeline, you'll give yourself whatever support you need for your knees. We're going to take your left hand and start to just bring it to the inside of the left leg, wherever that is. And you might walk it out a little bit. Oh yes, I'm remembering it. Let's take the right arm. Let's reach it up and over. So as I reach my right arm up and over, I'm going to let my right hip become lighter on the blanket. There's more weight on the left than on the right. We'll inhale, come up. Even sitting on a bolster can be nice for this one. Support under the left knee. We're going to take the second side. If I do sit up high on a bolster, for example, I might need to put something under my straight leg. If when I take my other knee out, if it's not meeting the ground, then I'm going to want to put something under the knee so that it's not just hanging in midair, that there's support, so that there's help. The props give us a lot of help. They do. Okay, right hand to the inside of the right leg, the straight leg. I'm going to start to walk the right arm out. And then let's inhale, lift the left arm up, overhead. So as the arm reaches overhead, let your left sit bone become lighter. When you let the left sit bone become light, you might feel, then you get a lot more length through the side body. Yeah, Celeste, that looks so yummy. Yeah. Great. So good. Beautiful. These are beautiful. That's it, Al. Great. Super. Wonderful. You might even just straighten the left elbow. Yahoo. There you go. And then we'll all inhale, come back up. Take the support under the legs so you can bring the legs out. Let's take them straight ahead for a moment. And just give a little massage to the knees. Okay. Now we're going to take a supported bridge pose. So let's take one of your blankets, fold it in half lengthwise. Know where your blocks are. Tilt this camera down a little, huh? Can you also have a strap for this one? You grab a strap, make a loop in it. And the loop is probably about the width of the upper arms. Give yourself enough room there. So that when you lie down over your blanket, the head will be on the ground, the shoulders on the blanket, and then you pick up the hips and take one block under the pelvis, right? Second block, maybe you want another block there. And I'm not going to the highest place. I'm just going to a place that feels more nourishing. I am going to take a strap though. I'm going to take my loop. It's going to be between my feet and my blocks. So here, as you press out on your strap, can you come into this space that's along the sternum, where the lungs come up and meet up under the ribs at the midline? Can you lengthen that longitudinally, like up towards the throat? And you could stay like this, or lift the knees and come into a modified shoulder stand. Yeah, or you'll still have the feet on the ground, and that might feel more nourishing. If your legs are up, let's lower the feet to the ground. And then we'll all take the strap off. Remove one of the blocks. Let's pick up the pelvis. Shift the blocks away and walk towards your head so that the pelvis will be on your blanket. You're gonna rest, knees bent, feet on the ground. And then let's roll over to one side. Use the arms to push yourself up. And then let's take a block. Let's sit on one of your blocks on the lowest side. And bring your left heel towards your, if you bring the left heel kind of in that space, where's the right sit bone or the outer hip, so you bring that knee down. You could sit up higher if you need to. And then on the other leg, you can either keep it where it is or cross it over. Yeah. And this time, you're gonna be turning towards your right. So if you bring the right, your left elbow, either your hand and the right hand behind you on another block, or if you grab, you can take the elbow, the inside of the elbow, and you might just grab onto your own forearm. So either if you have the elbow across, you might take your right hand to clasp your left wrist, or you might have your right hand behind you as you turn. And then we'll release. Second side. So I could also sit up on a bolster if that was more comfortable and I had one. So again, this time it'll be either left hand behind you on top of your block and turning, or maybe the elbow comes and you clasp your knee with that, and you take your left hand to clasp your right wrist. That's another version. Either way, not one is better than the other. All right, let's come back to center. And we can come off your block and straighten both legs again. Dandasana. Two straight legs. Let's take your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards your feet. And lifting through that top of the breastbone again, like lengthening longitudinally. And then release. All right. So I want to take another supported kind of waterfalling kind of position. And so, what will that look like? This is where we just have to be patient in dealing with props. So I'm going to take one of my blankets, and I've got it like it would be maybe lying on the shelf. I'm going to put another blanket on top of that one. If I have a bolster, I don't need to be doing this. This is for those who do not have a bolster. I want to show you both options. If I have 3 blankets, I'm going to roll them up like that. I'm going to put those on my mat. So if I had a bolster, you see they're very similar in height. I would use the bolster there. But I'm going to pretend I don't, because I think most of you don't. All right, and then, but this requires about 4 blankets, because I also want another blanket to be here on the ground for my shoulders to rest upon. Okay. Now, I could, if I had said at the beginning of the class, like a chair might be a nice addition. I'll show you what I'm thinking. And then you can decide what sort of support you're gonna get for yourself. So when I come into this, my pelvis, I want it to be on the other side of the big roll to start. So I'm gonna lay on my left outer hip. And if I don't have a chair, don't worry about it. I could just come into it like this. And I want this blanket that the shoulders are gonna go upon to be pretty close. Yeah. Because I want my shoulders on this, but not my head. Okay? Then I'm gonna take my arms into like a cactus position. My shoulders are supported on the blanket. And then I could take my legs onto the seat of a chair. If I don't, or a couch or something. Different heights of different things. Sometimes these chairs can be a nice, it just happens to fit me here. Or if you don't have any of that, you don't have a chair or a piece of furniture you want to use, then you'll just have your feet on the ground. Having the legs a little elevated does add. It's just a nice kind of way for the body to have a little more flow all the way down toward the lungs and the throat. So take your time to set this up, because it'll feel more nourishing if you've set it up, took the time to kind of get it all set up. So the pelvis is either on 3 rolled up blankets or a bolster, or maybe 2 rolled up blankets on top of blocks. That might work fine if you don't have as many, because I really like having the blanket under my shoulders. So if you only have 3 total blankets, then use 2 blankets and a roll on top of blocks. I'm going to come over and see if I can offer any suggestions, or if you have questions, you can ask. Yeah. And however you put the arms, just make sure the wrists are connected to the earth as well. And I do like kind of the cactus pose arms. Yeah, and just make sure, I can't really tell, Celeste, you'll be able to tell if make sure the shoulders are supported by the blanket, right? And the head on the ground. Great. Just allowing the nourishment of the body to come into this long line from the legs, along the sternum, the lungs, all the way into that space of the throat. It's often the place that we need to nourish to be able to find our voice. You're welcome to stay in this place. Or if there's a different position that you would like for the last part of Shavasana, you're welcome to make that transition as well. If there's something that would feel more nourishing for you, I'd encourage you to take that. And then just taking a moment of remembering all of the millions of things that come together, mesh together, breathe together, in order for you to take that next breath of air. Just allowing your breath to deepen. Feeling, I hear in my space here, I can hear the rain falling on the skylight. The nourishment for the earth. And then you can begin to awaken your body to movement. Make a mindful transition back to sitting. And then joining your hands in front of your heart. May all beings be safe. May all beings be loved. May all beings be remembered. May we find peace. And may we offer kindness. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Let's see, I'm gonna just stop that recording. I think I turned that volume back up, so I should be able to hear you if there's anything that you would like to say. Let me just, hold on a sec, what's going on with this thing to stop my scroller isn't scrolling there. All right.